And we are live with week 10 of the college football look ahead here at Overdue Sports. I am your host, Will. To my right, as always, Jake. We're going to dive into the recap real quick because last week we had, another winning week. And in fact, we swept the board. Boise State, minus 3.5. Cash
Well, hang on. That's
Jake
a little
did,
bit. That's a little facetious because we just took yours and a few of mine because some of them we were on the same page. But if it takes discarding one person's losers, that's fine with me. I don't care because we're
However, you
definitely very
did
transparent
agree
about it.
that it should. The two that we'll talk about, you said it's going to be Boise, but I'm probably betting UNLV. And the other
I
one,
always do that though.
and the other
I
one,
always do that.
you said, yeah, this one's definitely Penn State, but this is going to be a homer pick. I'm probably going to end up betting Wisconsin.
Oh,
Those are the two. We agreed on the rest of the board.
okay. Well, I guess I can live with that. I mean, even if that's
So
not the case, I'd still live with that because 7-0 looks way cooler than 5-2. But
Boise State. Well,
yes,
technically it
continue.
was 8 because we also agreed on a side game, Bama minus 16 against Mizzou, which that one hit. Notre
Oh yeah.
Dame Notre Dame minus 13.5, gave that one out. That one hit. Texas A&M minus 2.5. That one hit. Penn State minus 6.5, although Jake did bet the home team of the Badgers, but they pulled away late. Penn State covered. Michigan minus 3.5, my favorite play of the week, hit.
Did
This
that one too?
one, to be fair, neither of us bet because we hated this game from top to bottom, but we technically picked it right. Auburn and Kentucky. We picked Auburn, just taking the points. I wanted nothing to do with that game. It was
Oh
going
yeah,
to
I didn't
BS,
either.
so
Yeah.
we can strike that from the score because
Yeah.
there was no way I was betting that game. And then Colorado and Cincinnati, the Buffs win. The Buffs are going bowling, and they cover the 5.5.
I bet the under. See, we are
Overall,
kind of it was good, but we are kind of dumb because I think you ended up betting Navy,
I
and
did
I
not.
nailed. You did not.
No.
I thought you did.
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
If I look at the Overdue Sports Twitter feed, I won't find anything about Navy.
No.
Are you sure?
I did. I responded to Stooley Picks, and I told him that I was leaning Navy before we recorded last week.
Oh, I thought
So
you
our
did.
good friend Trevor, I said, I'm also leaning Navy. And then we talked about it, and I was like, yeah, it's not Navy.
Oh, you did. You guys didn't end up doing it.
Yeah, I think he bet it. I did not partake
Oh,
in Navy.
see, I wish I was always that smart because I nailed that like to a T. Like I
Yeah.
should have put every dollar I'll ever make on that because I was 100% right. But then if
Yeah.
I do it, yeah, you know how
Yeah,
it goes.
right.
But
Let's jump right in. Tonight, South Florida heading to Florida Atlantic, where the Bulls are laying minus 2.5. In all honesty, there was no Good Friday games, and this game wasn't any better. Both these teams are horrible, like awful. And
yes, they are bad.
South Florida really has not been competitive this year. Florida Atlantic has hardly been competitive this year. I mean, I guess give me the home dog with the Owls, but I mean, there's nothing to this game that I understand. I mean, it's a 3-6 team, or it's a 3-5 team versus a 2-6 team. Nothing really on either side.
Yeah. I think I kind of just like USF just because they're better. Like it's kind of square, but like FAU stinks.
They're horrible.
They both stink. Like honestly, I might not even play this game. I played Georgia State money line and 7.5. Not feeling great about it, but I think I would rather lose units there instead of watching USF and FAU. Not sure though. I mean, it's come down a little bit from the open, and not to get dark here, but USF's basketball coach passed away last week, so maybe it's like a
tragic magic, but it's not a home game, so it's hard to.
yeah, it's true, but sometimes those things just
Sometimes it
happen.
works anyways. Yeah,
but
it's true. Not a good
any case, probably not one. What's our consensus?
I mean, I just typically in these games where both the teams are just horrible, I usually just take the points. Looking at the
Yeah.
owl, I did not know that about the USF basketball coach though. So I will agree with you on the Bulls -2.5 here.
No, let's just do that. If I were to play this at all, it would be money line. I wouldn't dick around with
No,
the spread in any way, shape, or form. So
no. Moving on, heading to the Big Ten, which we're going to see a lot of this week.
yeah,
We got
good
the
games.
Minnesota, yeah, lots of good games. Minnesota Golden Gophers heading to Champaign to take on the Illinois Fighting Illini, number 24 in the country, where the Minnesota Golden Gophers are laying 3 on the road. Is somebody hurt? Somebody has to be hurt.
I don't know. You texted me the list before. I just looked at it a little bit before, and this one kind of has me in a pickle.
It makes no sense.
Mm-mm.
And not that Minnesota is bad.
No, they're well. I mean, I get what you're saying. You're right, but they are. Like
Yeah.
they might be,
They hang
if
around
anyone,
in games.
yeah, anybody who watches Minnesota knows they're really not that good. They never really are that good, but like they're fine. You know what I mean? But I think you could also say the same for Illinois. Like they're ranked, but like not that good either. Like they're just fine.
They're interesting. I mean, obviously at this point that Nebraska win is not as
No,
convincing.
they fell apart. Yeah, they played well against Ohio State on the road last week, but yeah, they haven't been playing their
They
best
played
ball.
Oregon last week.
No, Nebraska I'm talking about.
Oh, Nebraska. Yeah, no, Nebraska looked
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. Oh, I bet Illinois last week. They got shit pumped.
But like they've got some decent win. Like obviously, like they haven't hung in there against the really good teams, but they've played well against like the mid-tier teams.
Yeah, like they've handled business. Like Michigan, that Michigan game was kind of like a trappy spot, but like it
Yep.
was never a doubt going to be Illinois for a second. But
Minnesota, I mean, Minnesota's been in almost every game this year. I mean, they
yeah,
lost to
they play.
Michigan by 3.
Yeah, they play close.
Yeah. They lost to Iowa by a lot, but beat UCLA by 4, which isn't impressive. And then they smacked Maryland last week. But they're laying 3 on the road, and I haven't seen anything about an injury report.
It's moved a lot too, which
Has
makes
it?
me kind of like Illinois. Yeah, but maybe that's one that's kind of right too, because like I find it very strange that's a lot of steam.
Yeah.
It's a lot of steam. I mean, it's like 6 points now.
Illinois doesn't
And
have anyone on deck. Illinois got Michigan State on deck.
yeah, so I mean, it might look really easy, but I think I would just take the 3 here with Illinois.
I would agree here. I would do the same. I mean, this line makes 0 sense, and it tells me that like look at Minnesota, but I just like I don't
Yeah,
believe
well,
it.
I mean, yeah, it's very strange because like they're favored on the road, and it's not like Champagne's the hardest place to play at, but it's definitely no joke, Like you could think of a lot more places you'd rather go play a road game than Champaign.
Yeah,
And it's just a lot of steam. I think it might be too much at this point.
I
Like,
agree. And
if it's settled at 1 or 2, maybe. Like this is a game that I could see going to overtime, like double overtime, and Minnesota wins by 2.
yeah, I think you said it pretty well though. I mean, they've handled business against like that mid-conference teams, and I think they do it again here.
Yeah,
Go
I
with
think so
Illinois.
too. Yeah, book it.
Game of the week here. Ohio State heading into Happy Valley, take on the Penn State Nittany Lions. Ohio State is laying 3 on the road, coming off of a hard-fought win against Nebraska, the devastating loss against Oregon the week prior, and they've got a cakewalk of Purdue on deck. Penn State just handled business against Wisconsin after being on upset alert for
Most of the
60% of
game.
that game, for
Yeah.
most of that game, yeah. And then the should have lost game against USC. I mean, it seems like they keep just pulling through late. And I don't know. I don't have a great read on Penn State yet. Like I just cannot get a feel for how that team truly plays.
I do. Penn State can't win the big one. Don't overthink it.
What about Ohio State?
No. Yeah.
Ohio
Well,
State, I mean,
they can almost win the big one. Like they've won big games, I
yeah.
guess. But like to me it's pretty easy here. Like if you're going to make a wager expecting to lose that wager, like lose with the trend, right? I mean, Penn State plays this game every year. And myself included, every year it was like, oh, this is the year they're finally going to do it. And they never do. I'm not falling for it. I mean, I don't care what the lines look like at this point. I mean, could I go to bed tonight and wake up tomorrow morning and be like, oh, it's a great day to be a Nittany Lion? Probably. I mean, I do it all the time. But yeah, I think it's Ohio State. I don't know if they're going to win by 3. Like, maybe this is one I wait out and see if I can get it at like 2 or 1 or even 1. But I don't think it's going to move much more in a field goal. I think this game's going to be a lot closer than it typically is because Penn State is much better than in, years past on offense, it seems like. Their defense is always, top tier. But it seems like they're having less issues scoring the ball, moving the ball. If I'm going to lose a unit or 1.1 units here, I'm going to bet Ohio State. I mean, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason to believe that Penn State's going to do it. Like, James Franklin's been there, 8 years? He's been to 1 conference championship game. And, like, the expectation and the talent's there every year. I just don't think I want to fall for it.
I like the Ohio State angle a lot because Penn State has really struggled the last 2 weeks between
much.
Between USC. I just think like they haven't been overly convincing, even against Wisconsin. I mean, the score doesn't say like how tight that game was.
No, Wisconsin was winning or not winning, but was in it the entire game. And to be fair, Wisconsin has been playing their best football the last 3 weeks. And I mean, for 3 quarters, it looked like their game plan was working, but Penn State could not move the ball. Like they seem to get it out of their own zone or off of their side of the field, but once they crossed the 50, like the play calling just stopped working. And then it took, a back-breaking mistake out of Wisconsin, down 6 in the fourth quarter. So to your point, though, they haven't been playing their best football. And like I said, I just don't think there's a reason to get cute with this one. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Like, to me, like, normally, yeah, this would be a Penn State spot. Home dog. It might even be like, what time is this game at? 11?
It's at 11. Yeah, it's a morning game.
Okay, it's not the whiteout game because, I mean, that would change everything. But, like, that place is impossible at the whiteouts. But, like, I just don't see a reason to overthink this.
Yeah. I do agree with that. I think it's a good spot for Ohio State to catch a really big win and move on to another conference championship game. So
yeah, and I've been high on Ohio State too. I mean, we were talking about it in August, and I was like, I think Ohio State's the real deal this year.
Yeah,
I still believe that. I mean, it's not like they got smoked by Oregon. I mean, Eugene's not an easy place to play, and that team is really good. I mean, they're well coached, good offense, defense, but I mean, you're playing Ohio State too, so giving up 30 there isn't like crazy. But yeah, to me, it's just like every year I bet Penn State in this game, and I think they ended up covering it last year because it was like 10 or something. But I don't think I'm doing it this year.
Yeah. Keep it in the Big Ten. The Wisconsin Badgers, coming off the loss to Penn State, which we just talked about, are heading to Iowa to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes, where the Hawkeyes are laying 2.5. Give me the Badgers on the road. I think this is a good get-right spot after last week of 35 minutes of really solid football. I know they've got Oregon on deck, but for a team that isn't in the hunt for a playoff spot, a look ahead doesn't really exist. So give me the Badgers here, plus 2.5.
I think I like them too. I would have played them anyways, but the only thing that's kind of making me think twice about it is it's a good rivalry game. It's one of the best rivalries still every year in college football. And it's not like the high flying, touchdowns back and forth. It's like more punts than points. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's usually gross.
But Iowa always gets up for this game. It seems like, unless their team's really bad or Wisconsin's is really good. I remember when we were in college, I think 2018 was like the one that I remember being a complete blowout one way or the other. But I don't know. Part of me is like Iowa seems to just handle their business at home. It seems like every game they play at home, they end up getting it done, except the Iowa State game, which was a little unusual. But this is one you'll know, right? Like if Wisconsin comes out flat and Iowa takes a halftime lead, don't worry about it. It's not happening. Like Iowa has looked pretty bad in their first halves, like most of the season. Since I shouldn't say most of the season. Since like conference play started, it seems like every first half they're a little bit slow. Who'd they play last week? Northwestern. I think they were losing at halftime, if not struggling. I bet them they were 14. I think they were up like 5 or 6 at halftime. The Michigan State game was the same thing. They ended up losing that game pretty badly, but it was the same scenario. They're just slow starters. It seems like it takes them a lot of time to get their thing going. They're all about ball control and field position, right? So if they get down early, like that game will tighten up. But if Iowa gets out to a lead, I don't think they're letting it go.
Yeah, I can see that. I do like the bounce back spot. I'm going to go with the Badgers here.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I'm a fan, but
pushing to the SEC. The number 10 Texas A&M Aggies are taking on South Carolina in South Carolina, where the Aggies are laying 3.5. This opened at 2.5. A&M is coming off of a very solid win against ranked LSU, and South Carolina is coming off the bye week. Prior to that, they smacked Oklahoma in that tight spread game. Give me South Carolina on the money line. This is probably my favorite play of the week. As much as I like Texas A&M this year, I think this is probably my favorite play of the week is South Carolina plus 3.5.
Yeah, I'm not going to say favorite play for me, but I agree with that. This line looks really short. Like I would venture to say that A&M probably had their best win of the season last week.
I would agree. And they've been playing really good ball all season.
Yeah, ever since that loss to Notre Dame, like they haven't been like spread gods or anything, but they've handled they've won all of the games they needed to win.
Yeah.
And I think who do they play next week? Do you have that handy?
New Mexico State. They've got nobody on deck. They've got New Mexico State on deck.
Okay, so
that concerns me.
Yeah, that I was gonna say that might be like they'll be
letdown spot
on
potential.
This one. Yeah, but to me, it's just South Carolina looks a little short here. Don't know if I'm gonna run to the counter to bet it, but to me, this looks like South Carolina.
Yeah. Pushing over to our fraudulent game of the week. Number 18 Pitt taking on number 20 SMU. One of these teams is fraudulent. I know it for a fact.
No, one of these teams is definitely fraudulent, but like the limit isn't one. Like
that's what I mean. We're gonna find out which one is. SMU is laying 7.
No, we know they both are.
Yeah,
we know they both are. But
SMU is laying 7 at home. Pitt just seems to get away with everything. They smacked Syracuse last week, but Syracuse
did it again.
Was the worst performance maybe I've ever seen.
Yeah, Kyle McCord, low T. Don't think he went to the clinic.
They get away with it. They get away with it every single week. And I don't really like SMU either. They've burned me a handful of times. I mean, they're coming off of who they play last week. They beat Duke in overtime last week by 1. And this spread is huge.
I'm blindly fading Pitt until further notice. Like I'm done.
Pitt's gonna find a way to cover this though. 7. That's too many. That's huge. Give me SMU -7. But
yeah, SMU's good.
Maybe.
Yeah, they play in the honestly, like I think them playing in the American might say more than them playing in the ACC minus like Clemson and Miami. Like I feel like the competition is like the same.
It's honestly kind of close.
Yeah, the ACC stinks.
Dude, the ACC is horrible at football. And not really for good reason either.
Yeah,
I mean, it should. I mean, yeah. Give me SMU. Pitt
Yeah,
they can't keep doing it.
No, they can't, and they're probably gonna. You're
They're
probably
going
hit it on the
to.
head. Yeah, it'll be interesting, but yeah, I think your analysis is right. This line's really big for like a mid-major ranked team. Like they're technically a power four team now, but like they're still, just fresh out of a move. I still think that's Pitt looks kind of easy there. And I mean, if you look at Pitt against the spread, they've got to be like 6-1 or
They
7-0.
have to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they were less than 6-1 against the spread. So I feel like Pitt would look really easy there.
Yeah.
It's a big number.
It's huge.
So
Give me SMU.
yeah, I like SMU as well.
Final game of the week. Big 12 action. The Arizona State Sun Devils are heading to Stillwater to take on the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I believe this opened at 3.5. It's now at 4.5 in favor of the Sun Devils, who are coming off of a bye week and then losing to Cincinnati by 10. Before that, though, they were playing really good ball for a good stretch, and they're beating Utah.
Yeah, they're 3-5.
They were
I didn't realize
surprising.
that.
Yeah, they were surprisingly good for a stretch in there. Oklahoma State is coming off of a loss to Baylor, and prior to that, a loss against BYU. I don't know.
Pitt
I think
vibes.
Arizona State's on the decline, and Oklahoma State, I just don't. I thought Oklahoma State was going to be really solid this year. I think they just suck.
I think everybody did. So
Yeah.
You like Okie?
I don't think so. Like,
Yeah,
give me Arizona State. Give me Arizona State minus 4.5.
Yeah,
I don't feel good about it.
I don't know either. Like I think this one is gonna be like a splits game for me because I get the suspicion that everyone likes to bet Okie at home because they like seem to play their best games at home. Like, oh, real shocker. Well, yeah, but like you know what I mean? It's like you get those big numbers when they're at home. Like that Arkansas game. They
Yeah.
kind of hung around, like they almost won. They kind of blew it, I think. I think Arkansas ended up winning that game. But it gives me like that feeling. I think people gravitate towards that home dog in that spot. So that's one I'll have to see like what people are betting. Like if they like Okie, I think it's Arizona State. But if they like Arizona State, I think I'd just blindly do Okie here. I feel like this is a splits one for me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't have a really good feel for it.
Yeah, I think the number's about right.
Yeah.
Like Arizona State's objectively better. So I guess that if I were to play this, that would kind of be the edge there. So undecided. We can go with Arizona State though. Let's do that.
Yeah, don't feel great about it, but that's where I would lean to right now. Well, that's our show, folks. We'll be sure to recap all the picks on Sunday, post-Saturday games. Like and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next week. We've been on a very solid season stretch so far, so stay tuned for more picks and hopefully more winners. And we're getting pretty damn close to bowl season, and we're going to have a couple of big episodes for bowls. We'll probably split it into 3 episodes.
Yeah, just let me cook. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't do it before. Like,
yeah, you don't do it before.
A lot of people like to handicap their stuff before, and a word of advice: don't do that because you're looking at stuff from weeks, week-old information, and you have guys opt out, and coaches are in the carousel. They're not coaching, or they are coaching, but they don't have like their original roster. Handicapping bowl games makes no sense. Don't waste your time. That's stupid. I'm being dead serious. Don't handicap bowl games. It's dumb. There's no reason to handicap. Well, just think. I love bowl season.
Yeah, we love bowl season.
Yeah, and it works for me. Like, why would you do a traditional handicap of a bowl game using information that's not relevant anymore? You know what I mean? Like, you would be better off like handicapping the next game of the next year. Like, it's the same thing. Like, half of these guys don't play. It makes no sense to, put your time and effort into, these guys like to. Ollie Gordon rushes for 150 yards a game against this team when they played in 2018. It's like, it doesn't matter. Ollie Gordon's not playing the bowl game. Not saying they're going to be bowl eligible, but I'm just using him as an example. You know what I mean? It's like, he's not playing. What point is it? Okie's good with the run. The team they're playing soft against the run. It's a different person. It doesn't matter. You're not getting an edge. It's not even playing the game. It's all about line moves and being a contrarian because what's
It is.
everyone doing around the holidays? Oh, we're at home. I'm going to bet on the football game. I'm a square. I don't know what I'm doing. Not saying I know what I'm doing either. I'm also an idiot. But I hit both like 70%. I did that the last 2 years. So I'm going to go with my way until it doesn't work anymore.
It's coming soon, though, so stay tuned.
Yeah,
Like and
I'm
subscribe.
fired up. I'm just saying, don't
Oh,
waste
yeah.
your time
Oh,
handicapping
yeah.
bowl games. It doesn't pay.
It's coming, folks. It's coming. Stay tuned. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, and we will be back next week.